WWE Crown Jewel Perth, Australia predictions are live for now. Take place this Saturday, October the 11th. And I can tell you now, I have got a shocking prediction on this stream. But what match am I talking about? Well, let's go through the match card very quickly. And also, you can see the order we'll be talking about today. We've got the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, going against hometown Rhea, Ripley, and Io Sky. We've got Roman Reigns taking on Bronson Reed in an Australian street fight. AJ Styles is going to be the opponent for John Cena on his farewell tour. These two will do this for one last time. We've got Tiffany Stratton going against Stephanie Vaquer, who will walk away as the Women's Crown Jewel champion. And for the men's side, these two have got history. It's Cody Rhodes versus Seth Freakin Rollins. Myself and NXT Steve are in the hot seat. NXT Steve, it's great to have you on board as always. And of course, like every time we do one of these prediction videos, the first question I have for you is, what are your excitement levels between 1 and 10?
Meh. I mean, this show doesn't exactly have the greatest of builds in terms of anything on it. So I'm kind of like, I'm hoping again it's one of them shows that's going to be really good wrestling. Some of the matches, don't get me wrong, potentially be absolute killers, but I think that the lack of story build is just so underwhelming for this show, and it just feels like it's one of them pay-per-views where it kind of like it just has it is what it is. It's here to do two matches specifically, which is the champion versus champions match, and it's kind of like it's almost like a King of the Ring tournament. Do you know what I mean? It's a show that is just, it has a purpose, whereas it's not really story driven. But I think I'll be fair and say a 5, maybe a 6. I think there's potential to be some really good wrestling on the show. Will we get it? That's a completely different story.
Time will tell on that one. I compare Crown Jewel these days to Survivor Series Raw versus SmackDown days. Your bragging rights, if you will, which is the superior brand with the superior champion. But I'm going to go the same as you. My excitement levels for this show is smack bang in the middle of 5, because in some way, like you say, a potentially good wrestling show. Cody versus Seth, great chemistry. Tiffany versus Stephanie Vaquer, two fantastic in-ring talents. How well will they work together? There's going to be some good stuff in this show, but storyline wise, there isn't really much to bite on. There's not much conversation, talking points. These champion versus champion matches arguably interrupt the storytelling going on weekly TV. CM Punk's had the best part of nearly a month off because of the fact that him and Rollins aren't doing anything until probably after this. We've probably got War Games as well that's going to interrupt their eventual match that they're having. Cody Rhodes, in the meantime, obviously not doing anything really on SmackDown either. Drew McIntyre has moved on to Jacob Fatu. You look with the women's side, Tiffany Stratton's been stuck still with Nia Jax because they can't move the story forward at the moment. Jade Cargill's still around the picture as well. And Stephanie Vaquer, someone who couldn't really get on TV before winning the title, is now still just walking aimlessly backstage without a proper challenger. So we're not really building for stuff outside of Crown Jewel. These champion versus champion matches to win kind of a Super Bowl style ring is where it's all out. And to be honest, it's not enough to keep me fully hooked, but there is a couple of story beats that I don't mind on this show, but still, all in all, I think 5 is a fair one. And that's mainly due to the fact, like you say, we could get some good in-ring action on this show. But what match are you most looking forward to?
I mean, I think the one that has the most intrigue is AJ versus Cena, because Cena's retirement, we know they've had good matches before, but they are both getting on in age, when it's kind of like, this is almost like when they brought The Undertaker back for one of the Saudi shows. You kind of like the guy, he's kind of past it, and these two, like, they're getting up there in age, and yeah, that's the one thing I'm most intrigued by, just because I hope it's as good as it like they've had in the past. If I was to pick just a match that I'm genuinely looking most forward to in terms of wrestling quality, Stephanie Vaquer versus Tiffany Stratton, I think, has the potential to be match of the night.
It's really exciting on paper to see what those two will be like chemistry-wise in ring, but it's not going to be the match I'm going to choose. It's two superstars that I know have got great chemistry in ring, and are arguably still in their prime is Cody and Seth. For me, they've had some great matches previously. Cody has won them all. We'll be talking about that later on, and what that's done to Seth Rollins on the build actually has made a semi-interesting story leading up to this show. So I'm going to go for that one personally. But let's dive in quickly. We've got some comments that have flown in, and we're going to dive in straight with our predictions today. First off, shout out to C Nation, who's in the house. He's on YouTube as well. So he's going to have to wake up for 7 a.m. for this show. Of course, it being in Australia, that's not a kind time zone for you in the States. Let's have to watch this one. And of course, for us, it's going to be a bit different. I think, NXT, if it's for you, is it 1 p.m., if I'm not mistaken?
Oh, is it? I don't know. I'll be at work either way, so I'm not going to watch it till I get home. So I'm going to miss the show, but I will watch it when I get home.
2 p.m. for me, but again, we'll be working as well. We can never win. Doesn't matter what time a show's on. Never seem to be able to watch them live, unfortunately, but it is what it is. And Noob in house as well. Hope you're doing well, Noob. Thanks for the shout out on X as well. Appreciate that. Two-Sweet Carl from On the Mark Wrestling Podcast in house as well. Great to see you here. He says excitement levels a solid 2 out of 10. Thanks to that John Cena versus AJ Styles. I suppose 1 out of 5 ain't bad. That wasn't the Meatloaf song though. C Nation says Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes feels like a big deal for me. I would kind of agree with that, even though it seems in a throwaway circumstance they've done their best to make this feel quite a worthy match, and we'll get to it. It's our main event match of the stream, so we'll have to wait a little while to get to that one. Carl is digging the Too Sweet t-shirt, NWO style. Fantastic, loving that. CD says, well, as well. Yeah, I'm loving that as well. Can we get some love for the Anaheim hockey jersey, please? CD says, I feel like they have a good job setting up the storyline for Seth versus Cody, but they haven't done a good job with Tiffany versus Stephanie Vaquer. Completely agree with that. Kyle says, the story for Cody and Seth for me is just they have history. Doesn't excite me personally, even though they're both great and will probably have a good match. I just don't care. Fair play on that.
Cody and Seth, at least they've attempted to build something for after this match, like with Randy and all that kind of stuff, which is, I'm going to take that as a plus because at least there is something to look forward to with one of these matches coming out the show.
Absolutely. For me as well, I love Seth's work. Seth's work has been pretty good going into this and coming through the other side. So fingers crossed, we can lead to a good result as well for it moving forward. But that's the thing. What happens with the winner? They just win a championship and they go back onto their shows. Usually doesn't mean much going forward. However, War Games has followed this. So maybe that could be something we could speculate about as well. Kyle here says 7 a.m. for me as well. So there'll be some coffee and some wrestling. And CD has joined in there, loving the jersey NXT. So that's great to see. Gotta love it. But let's dive into our first match and then we can talk about on the show then, shall we? And of course, it's going to be a tag team match to kick things off. Arguably, the most storytelling going into one of these matches is Io Sky and Rhea Ripley teaming together, going against Asuka and Kairi Sane of the Kabuki Warriors. Of course, Io, Kairi, and Asuka, they were family. But of course, Asuka's been pretty jealous of Io Sky over the last recent weeks and months. Kind of the fact that Io has just, I suppose, been a champion, perhaps maybe is one thing, broken away from the damage control group, and has just made friends with loads of other people. And obviously, Rhea Ripley is one that Asuka just took major exception with. We saw a match with Rhea Ripley and Asuka that led to mist in the face for Rhea Ripley. She looked more like a Smurf by the end of Raw, to be brutally honest, but more blue than our background at the moment. But at the same time, that's led to the heel turn as well with Asuka on Io Sky. And of course, after that, Io realizing that, look, it might be family, but I can't really go back after that, especially after the following week on Raw. Io took the mist, and it was Rhea that took the beat down. We did get Rhea doing promotional work this week, which meant that Io Sky was left on her own this past week on Monday Night Raw with the Kabuki Warriors. It was a one-on-one match with Kairi Sane. Kairi Sane picking up the victory with help of Asuka. And we should note as well that this is in Rhea Ripley's home country of Australia. So I imagine there's going to be a lot of love for this one. Would not be surprised if this match could potentially kick off the show.
Yeah, I would purely put this down to kicking off the show because I think Rhea Ripley takes the loss here. I think this is an easy loss for Rhea to take that will help develop the story between her and Io going forward. But ultimately, again, I can see the Kabuki Warriors taking a loss because just with everything that's gone on with Raw and Asuka attacking Kairi and giving her a slap, and I I don't know. I think it's just a case of if there's any point that they're going to get Rhea to lose a hometown show, it's going to be this one. It's going to be this match, and I think it could be the case of that Io takes that pinfall because you've kind of then got an opportunity to build a story going forward with Io and Rhea for them two facing each other for that title.
I mean, at some point down the line, they have to revisit Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky. Obviously, they've had some fantastic matches in 2025, Evolution being particularly one of them that really stood out. And of course, didn't have the finish that we were expecting after that cash in from Naomi. But one thing I will say is that I can see this one going either way. And particularly one thing I do like is that Io Sky said she can't go back, but she has always claimed that Asuka and Kairi are family. So it does need that sort of seed in the air here and there. Rhea's actually asked the question to Io Sky, can I trust you? Io has said yes. I'm going to stick my neck out, going based off Monday Night Raw. Look, Kairi Sane picked up the victory over Io Sky. Momentum is with the Kabuki Warriors. So I'm going to say that when it comes to the big show here, Io Sky, Rhea Ripley will pick up the victory. Kairi Sane is right there to take the pinfall, and that will lead to, well, Asuka being really upset, perhaps maybe more further tensions to leading this to get into the women's War Games match. And if we want to do a long-term play, yes, I see Io Sky versus Asuka, but I also see that this is going to be a start of one of those storylines. You know, Kairi Sane's in a position where we saw Jey Uso with Roman Reigns. We've seen all these sort of things before. Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest in the Judgment Day, where you eventually see them break away. Kairi will eventually turn on Asuka and realize that Asuka's no good either. Could we actually get the Io Sky, Kairi Sane, Asuka triple threat match potentially, say, at WrestleMania?
Yeah, I think so. It's just, it's always the case for me. It's always got to make logical sense, and yeah, your reason probably makes more sense. But then again, I think I'm going to go against you. I'm going to say that Rhea and Io lose this because I think it gives them the opportunity to even delay Io versus Rhea to WrestleMania if they then do an Asuka versus Io storyline for that title. So I that's what I'm going to go with, and Io versus Rhea is a WrestleMania match. It has to be. It kind of like it's got such a backlog of story to it that if you want that story to finish and if you want Rhea to pick up that final win or that first win against Io, it needs to be for a title and it needs to probably be on the biggest stage of the year.
Potentially, indeed, yeah. I mean, does have that feel now? They've got so much history with one another as well. I feel we will get some Australians that probably check this video out that perhaps maybe have not found us before, and I think a lot of them will have this question. So I'm going to ask this on behalf of Australians everywhere. Is it a bit of a surprise that WWE have booked Rhea Ripley in a tag team match on a Perth show instead of perhaps going for a championship? Now, I know the obvious answer for this is the fact that, well, we have champion versus champion matches. Therefore, Rhea Ripley is not currently a champion. Therefore, she can't partake in those matches. Therefore, she can't win the title in Australia. But are you surprised we're not getting, say, Rhea Ripley versus Tiffany Stratton on this show, champion versus champion for the Crown Jewel Championship? Because you would have felt that would have felt more marquee main event status for Rhea Ripley rather than being involved in a tag team match. And arguably, you could say she's the fourth wheel in this storyline.
Yeah, possibly. But then I think that the last two shows that they've done in Australia, Rhea's even main evented one of them. So I don't think it's a case of that she should be more of a marquee match. I think it's a case of, look, this is the best way to get her on the show without her being a champion, even if it is the opener. But then, look, you could say the same thing about Grayson Waller. I know Grayson Waller isn't exactly the biggest star, but he is obviously from there. But look, we're going to get Rhea on this show, on this card somehow. And like you said, without a championship involved, this is kind of the only real way to do it. And it can't, again, logic has to play part in it, and it has to be built into, like, this is one of the few story beats that we've got going into the show, and it kind of has to be something to go, like, aim towards going past the show.
Absolutely, yeah. I think you've well answered that pretty darn well. And like you say, the storyline is playing that pretty well with this one. So let's let it flow and let's see where it goes coming in. I do think these four will be involved in War Games come Survivor Series weekend. But just before we move on, you mentioned the name Grayson Waller. So I just want to throw a quick little prediction as we're in Australia. It's going to be SmackDown. There's going to be Raw. There's going to be Crown Jewel. Sadly for Grayson Waller, I don't think Crown Jewel is going to happen, but I do think he'll be the person to answer Sami Zayn's open challenge this Friday on SmackDown. Doesn't matter that it's not the right brand. I think he'll be the one to be going for the title.
Yeah, of course, 100%. It's just an opportunity to get that hometown pop, isn't it? Really, and hey, look, if Rhea doesn't lose this weekend, at least Grayson Waller will, because it's someone that has to lose the hometown hero match.
Absolutely, indeed. Let's go into the comments to see what people have got to say. Noob in the house here saying that more like Oscar, jealous of the entire women's division, to be honest. She's getting revenge on the entire women's division for the blind eye during the Vince McMahon era. I think that Vince McMahon era has been kind of forgotten about now, but hey, I like your play nonetheless. CD says Rhea Ripley has never beaten Io Sky one-on-one. The story is there. Exactly. Indeed. And I think the only time Rhea Ripley has defeated Io Sky is when she won the Royal Rumble in 2023. And arguably, that's not a freak out. That's just throwing over the top rope. New business, I believe Kairi's eating the pin. Asuka is very protected as of late and pretty much leading to the women's war games. I believe Rhea Ripley will take the fall for Io. Interesting stuff indeed. We'll move on then. And of course, to keep things nice and Aussie for you now, Aussie. Let's have an Australian street fight, shall we? Bronson Reed, Roman Reigns. They're going to do this one more time. And thank goodness it's a gimmick match for this show as well. Roman Reigns, of course, did appear, of course, on Raw a couple of weeks ago, making his return. And of course, that way, we know that the person that took Roman Reigns out, arguably the people that took Roman Reigns out, were Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker. But of course, Bronson Reed is the one getting the credit in Paris, especially after their 25-minute clash. Are you looking forward to the rematch?
I mean, look, I'm the same as you. I'm glad that this is a gimmick match because at least it gives them a chance to, I don't know, get the cheap pops off of using tables and stuff like that. So I'm sure this will be more entertaining than it probably should be. Am I hyped for it? Not really. This kind of just seemed like it's another rematch of a match we've already seen a dozen times before, and yeah, I mean, I'm kind of at the point where I want this to be over with now. And did this deserve to be on this card? Probably not, but I can see why, because obviously Roman Reigns is that big star. Bronson Reed is obviously from in or around that part of the world. I think he's from New Zealand, I believe, or something like that. So yeah, it's kind of just another one that fits the card, because of the geography more than anything. But yeah, this will be fun. It'll be entertaining. Am I expecting much? No. Who am I expecting to win? Roman Reigns, just because Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker have been getting so many wins lately, and it's very unlikely that, well, don't get me wrong, it'd be massive for Bronson Reed to win this, but Roman Reigns is going to win this.
Interesting stuff indeed. I'm going to say I'm looking forward to this match this time around. I thought the Paris match was okay. It wasn't my favorite match that I've ever seen. I thought it was well played for the final third, but I thought that the first two thirds were a little bit dragged out, if you know what I mean. But the beatdown after the match was fantastic, and of course the beatdown has that street fight element, and I think that that's what they're going to play into this match, which I think should make this a lot more fun. And the fact is, anything goes in this type of rules, this type of environment. I wouldn't be surprised to see Bron Breakker involved. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Jey Uso, a Jimmy Uso involved in this as well. But would Jimmy get involved? He's actually had a little bit playing in the backside since Roman's come back, obviously, but causing a bit of friction, telling Jay to go and do his own thing. Jimmy sort of not sort of fully approving it, but I wouldn't be surprised to see all of them in the mix of this match. Now, I told you at the start of the stream, less than 18 minutes ago, I had a shocking prediction. This is the shocking prediction. I think Bronson Reed is winning this match. Let me tell you why. I think Bronson Reed is going to beat Roman Reigns, because of where this show is located. It's in Perth, Australia. Number two, this is the second match they've had. Roman won the first one. Number three, Roman Reigns on the interaction on Raw was getting a couple of Superman punches in, so therefore you could say had the last laugh when it came to these two. And number four, if we're going to lead to War Games, yes, I'm going there, and I do think the Vision are in War Games, it makes most sense here for the heel to go in with the advantage. The Vision need to look strong, although this one is a Raw feud where Seth's later is Raw versus SmackDown, so it could be a bit different for that one later on, but this one makes all the key ingredients of why I think Bronson Reed should be picking up that W.
Yeah, I suppose your logic makes a lot of sense, and the street fight is an easy get out of jail free card to protect Roman in the loss. So yeah, it kind of does make sense. I'm just going with the basis that Roman is one of the biggest stars, and I don't know. Maybe you're right, and you probably are right. To be fair, I'm going with easy answers here, just because that's what they normally do. It feels recently that logical booking doesn't really play a part in WWE when it comes to TV and storytelling. So, yeah, I mean, look, although you say it's shocking, it's not really, because it kind of is the most sensible thing to predict. So, like, I like it. It'll be massive for Bronson, because I know he's missed a couple of the previous Australian shows because I think his wife gave birth, and I think he was injured for the other one. So, yeah, man, it'd be nice for him to get a hometown win. But my God, we don't even get that many hometown wins when they do a show in the UK, man. How comes the Australians get favoured so much? Is it because they only go there like once a year and they come to the UK like 2 or 3 times? Jeez.
Maybe, you never know. I think Roman Reigns winning is the most obvious way to go. It's Roman Reigns, one of the biggest stars in the company. I think it's massive if Bronson Reed could pick up this win here, because this would be the biggest win of his career. Remember the time he beat Okada in New Japan? Everyone thought it was a massive deal. They could get a similar reaction here if Bronson Reed picks up the win over Roman Reigns in this match. And I don't know what Roman Reigns' schedule is fully like at the moment. He seems to be here for a while, away for a while, in for a while, away for a while. But he's back now anyway. I do think he'll go through War Games at least. But for me, it's always that thing. The faces tend to win War Games in WWE in recent years. And of course, Bronson Reed's part of that heel faction. So that's the reason I'm going for it. But I want to see him have a breakout moment. So yeah, I think it's actually a bold prediction. I actually don't know if I fully believe in my prediction, but I'm going for it nonetheless.
Like I said, either way, you can't really go wrong. I mean, again, it's all down to the story and where it's going. I mean, we've been sitting here for months talking about Survivor Series, and at no point has there ever been a clear direction with what the teams are going to be for War Games. And I think kind of like this is the real point where we're going, okay, it's going to be Jay, Jimmy, Roman, plus Punk maybe against Seth, Bronson, and someone else. And it kind of seems the most logical, but maybe a Cody. I don't know, like whoever. Why am I putting Cody with Seth? Do you know what I mean? It seems like they're the most logical team set for War Games, but we've been predicting like the Solo Sokoa and Tamatonga and Talatonga, and do you know what I mean, in them in it, and this is the closest we've got to some sort of idea for War Games.
Certainly is, and we're working our way to it. And yeah, we've come up with some other ideas, which I think other people are starting to mention now. This week, I've seen quite a bit of. One Brock Lesnar could be on Team Seth, but we may talk about that again a bit later. Let's go into the comments in the meantime. So we're 1 for 1. We're not matching so far. I like that. We're both on different sides of the fence so far with all matches. I like it. It's very rare indeed. Noob says Bronson Reed is famous for doing Australian street fights. Apparently, I don't think I've ever seen one before. It's the first time ever. But credits to WWE for going for it anyway.
Instead of tables and chairs, it's didgeridoos and kangaroos, yeah?
It's along that line. And CD says, I've got Bronson Reed winning too, because Roman Reigns had the momentum on the go-home show, and I just don't see Bronson Reed losing twice to Roman Reigns. And true, if you want to do the third match, you need to have one-on-one.
Yeah, do you know what? I hate the go-home show theory. It really bugs me, because it doesn't make the show as... Well, sorry, it makes pay-per-views more predictable, because I just generally hate when they do it. I really do hate the go-home theory.
Unfortunately, it's been a theory since the mid to late 90s.
Since the 60s, probably. Do you know what I mean? It's just probably been whenever they've been doing it.
Absolutely indeed. We move on in the meantime then to our next match, and hey, let's talk about two people that are towards the latter end of their career. Excuse me. Still a bit of a cough. John Cena versus AJ Styles is going to be taking place at Crown Jewel in Perth. Looking forward to this one. However, there's not much story with this one, I'm very sorry to say. John Cena took on Brock Lesnar at WrestlePalooza. Almost forgot the title. And the fans weren't such a fan of it. AJ Styles was made via a tweet. Your thoughts?
I think AJ's promo this week on Raw, so I kind of summed up where it was like, yeah, now I've got time to talk. Yeah, because this is the only build we've had for this match altogether. It's a showcase match for two guys that, in politeness, are past their prime. If they can put on a half decent match, sure, I'll take it. No worries. John Cena's winning this one though. It's his retirement year. He's going to win this, and then AJ gets all the wins next year in his retirement year. So it's a very easy choice for me.
So you going John Cena?
Yeah.
Interesting. So my theory with this,
AJ, are you?
we'll see. I'm not going to get there just yet. I've got a bit of a rant first. I've got to get out some stuff off my chest here.
Go for it.
You know, for me, John Cena versus AJ Styles is extremely lazy booking. There was no build of any description. You're doing this on social media, which, let's be honest, a portion of WWE's fan base actually uses. It's a small portion. It's a very hardcore portion of the fan base. So for random people that tune into Raw each and every week, I'm going to shout out to WrestleMania UK who made this point. Random people who just tune into Raw casually would have gone, so when was this match made? How did this come about? What have I missed as a story beat? Because literally, if you don't go online, you don't know this match is happening. So literally the story is that John Cena went, should we do AJ Styles? AJ's like, go on then. And all of a sudden it's like Triple H goes, yeah, okay. And the thing is, fans are of course going to answer John Cena's tweet with, yes, we want to see this because John Cena mentioned it. It's not a case of, who does we want to see John Cena face? Now, I'm sure many do want to see him face AJ Styles. I'm happy to see this match. But I also have said previously, I'm a bit bored of seeing John Cena's greatest hits. I want to see John Cena in fresh matches on this retirement tour because this is the last chance we've got to see him. I've seen him face AJ Styles before. I've seen, matches with Brock Lesnar. I've seen all these ones. I want to see Gunther's. I want to see Braun Breakers. I want to see Bronson Reed, Dominic Mysterio. There are loads out there that would have been, Penta would have been fun for a match. We're not going to get to see a lot of those matches now because we're running out of dates. We're running out of time. Literally, we've got Boston after this, which I'm hoping is Carmelo Hayes. We've got Madison Square Garden. We've got Survivor Series, which is possibly War Games. Then we've got Saturday night's main event. We've not even got time to build all these matches if we're going to have them. And that's why, to this point, you could have argued that John Cena should have taken a note from Sammy's book and said, Sammy, you're doing a great thing with this open challenge. I'm just going to say open challenge for Perth, because then we could have been on this stream now speculating who's John Cena going to face. Wow, this is going to be exciting, this, because we have a whole plethora of a roster to go through. Raw, SmackDown, a Legend, Surprise, Return. Is Edge coming from AEW? We could have had all these things that could have been a case and scenario. Instead, it's just, there you are. Here's a match. We're just throwing it together. And if you want to flip the coin, let's flip the coin from AJ Styles' point of view. A couple of weeks ago on Raw, during an ad break, or the Netflix ad break, where no one else could see this apart from the people watching Netflix, AJ Styles said the company was holding him down. Someone was holding him back and didn't want to see him succeed. He'd lost all his friends and all the rest of it. And now he's just been given a match with John Cena. Surely that could have prolonged the storyline the following week and said, I'm being held back. There's a retirement tour with John Cena, and I've not even been mentioned for a match with John Cena. AJ could have done all the work himself to build this match. John Cena wasn't needed around. AJ Styles could have been the guy saying, I'm going to compete and I'm going to win and I'm going to fight for my opportunity to beat up John Cena one more time. And they could have built over that over a number of weeks. And then literally, if he'd have won, say, this last week on Raw or the week before, he could have been granted the match because of the fact, even though people were trying to hold him down, he's that down phenomenal. He made sure that he got himself in that position one more time. But unfortunately, it's done via tweet. Ran over.
I mean, do you know what? Now you're sitting there fantasy booking. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, WWE had the opportunity to like imagine like if they'd turn around and gone, okay, John Cena's final match is December, Saturday night's main event. Let's do a tournament, a King of the Ring style tournament. Winner gets the opportunity to face John Cena in his retirement match.
That'd be brilliant.
You could have had everyone in that, man. Like, you could have run that thing for the course of the year. You could have had NXT superstars, WWE superstars, TNA wrestlers come in. You could have had this whole tournament, this, 62-person elimination style tournament where you win, you go through to the next round, fine. And like, you could have done this whole thing over the course of the year, and you could have built up to that moment where we'd have got to Survivor Series, for example, and you'd have had that match. this match, this is the decider for who faces John Cena in his retirement match. And you could have had like Gunter and Obafemi or something like that. Do you know what I mean? And it would have been an opportunity to build loads of stars up from like NXT, TNA, whatever, like especially some of the free agents like Joe Hendry and whoever's going to be available soon. You could have done this whole bloody thing to get just to promote one match for the end of the year. And it would have been this whole spectacle. Like, you'd have had so many online discussions being like, oh, well, we've got like the 64 competitors. Let's fantasy book who we think is going to win it, who's going to go through. They'd have got so much traffic from a tournament that size just for one retirement match to have the privilege of facing arguably one of the GOATs. And yet, it's all done with a tweet.
I love the suggestion, especially for his last match, because that is sacred. I mean, I think you remember back in the old days, The Undertaker had come around to WrestleMania. Who wanted to end the streak? Who wanted to take on The Undertaker after he'd lost the streak? Idea. Everyone was just competing to get that match with The Undertaker. Why not do that? But the thing is, you said that there for his last match. There was a way around this, and it's called Survivor Series. Now, for those that are long, and I'm talking long-term viewers of this channel, we're going back to 2016-17 territory. I used to do a fantasy booking idea for Survivor Series, and I tell you what, WWE, if you're watching, if you're listening, you're not, but someone share it, clip it, send it, tag them, all the rest of it from here on. Yeah. Ultimate Survivor. Exactly. Ultimate Survivor Series match. And in fact, I'm going to label it the Sole Survivor in a Survivor Series style elimination match. 10 men, 5 versus 5. The object of the match, obviously, like a normal Survivor Series match, is to be the team that's left standing. It's elimination style, so you could have 2 people left, 3 people left, 5 people left. And then once that team has eliminated everyone else, they compete against each other to be the sole survivor. And the winner of that match gets John Cena in his farewell retirement match, the last match that John Cena ever has. And you can do that under one night, and it makes Survivor Series have so much stakes on it just from that one match alone.
You could even be as crazy as like, it probably works better with 2 teams of 5, but yeah, you would have essentially elimination style matches. If anything, I'd actually probably throw a 3rd team in of 5, just because then you can have one team get completely whitewashed out the tournament. You get it down to the last 7 or 8 people. You then build it down to like the final 3, and it goes into a triple threat. You get down to like 3 versus 2, or even, like I said, 2v1, and you sit there and think, okay, well, logically, you could even do it in a case of that the 2 beats the 1. They then go into a 1v1 match, like in the same carries on, or the 1 beats the 2 and automatically just wins that moment. So, like, for instance, you could have had like Gunter and Obafemi on one team, Dominic Mysterio on the other. Everyone thinks Gunter and Obafemi are going to rinse this, and it's going to be one of those 2. You could have had Dominic Mysterio just somehow miraculously win that match. Obafemi, Gunter fall out, and Dominic Mysterio just picks up the win and is just sole survivor and gets the opportunity that way.
Absolutely,
we should be bookers.
We're available. If you like the idea, let us know in the comments if you're watching now or on delay. But yeah, anyway, back to the match. John Cena versus AJ Styles. You said easy pick for you, John Cena win. I made this mistake at WrestlePalooza. I made this mistake before. John Cena has 2 premium live events left. He's on 99 wins. He is going to get that 100th win. It's not going to be here. It's going to be at Survivor Series. And I feel it's going to be in War Games. I'm going for AJ Styles to pick up the win here. AJ Styles doesn't need it. He doesn't need it.
I just love the fact we've all gone completely opposite each other. I think it's great.
It's amazing. It truly is, because this doesn't happen usually 3 matches
Very
into
rare.
a stream. I think it's not happened at all year. But yeah, usually I would be with you and I would say John Cena to win this if I see the 2 names together. But John Cena, I think, has the better record of the 2. So I think AJ Styles here is going to continue wrestling. John Cena wants to put over some people on the way out. Styles doesn't need it, but he's going to still be there for a short time more. It builds up AJ Styles' retirement tour to be a bigger deal to beat him later on when that time comes. So yeah, I'm going to go for an AJ win.
I love it, man. Like I said, it's fun that we get to completely argue each sides of the coin here, because both very valid reasons to pick both options, but I do love it.
Absolutely. Would it be 5 versus 5 at the end of this? We'll have to wait and see. There's still time for it. But and in other words as well, the build-up of AJ Styles versus John Cena has been AJ teaming with Dragon Lee, absolutely wanting a tag team title match on Raw. Yeah, you kind of right here. CD says that John Cena is winning because AJ Styles' stock in WWE sadly went downhill. Yeah, he's not booked the same. He's certainly not the champion material at the top of the card anymore. That's for sure. Us getting John Cena versus AJ Styles also ruins the pay-per-view trilogy, which will make it 4. They should just leave it a 3 pay-per-view matches. To be fair, the last one though was Royal Rumble 2017, so I think there's a catalogue of fans who've probably not even seen this match before. So for them, it'll be a first time. So. Yeah, there is a spoiler out there, potentially of John Cena's last match. Have you seen it?
I have seen it, yes.
I've seen it as well. For those that haven't seen it, don't want to know, cover your ears. I tried not to see it, but it's unavoidable. It's everywhere. And CD, don't feel bad. Hud Gunter is set to win a tournament. Okay, I'd not heard that part, but Hud Gunter is set to be his final match.
Yeah, I hadn't heard the tournament either, but I genuinely think Gunter is the wrong person. Gunter does not need to beat John Cena. Dominic Mysterio needs to beat John Cena. Obafemi needs to beat John Cena. Gunter doesn't need it. Well, then I suppose John Cena can win his final match then if he's going to face Gunter.
Absolutely. CD says the 841 match borrowed the idea from TNA. No, CD. TNA borrowed that idea from us. It was on this channel. You can look it up. 2016. 2016, the video was on here. That idea came up. TNA did this a couple of years ago. I want royalties. I'm not going to get them, but I want them.
Desist has been sent out.
Exactly. I might do that. You never know. It won't go very far. If anything, you'll probably throw it back the other way. It's not worth the trouble. But yeah, anyway, let's go on to these champion versus champion matches. My goodness, we'll never get there otherwise. Tiffany Stratton versus Stephanie Vaquer. Simply a contract signing, a level of respect. I like you too. How do you see this one playing out?
This might be the one where we actually agree for the first time. Dude, Stephanie Vaquer's winning this. I think I mentioned this before. I think Tiffany taking the loss here is the downfall of Tiffany Stratton's reign now as women's champion. She needs to lose this because then it will ultimately build to her losing that title. You're probably going to come up with the reason why Stephanie Vaquer should lose it, but she's new champion. Tiffany's been champion for the longest time. I think Stephanie Vaquer easily, well, not easily, but I think is an easy prediction, so I'm going to go with that one.
Your reasoning is perfect. There's nothing really more for me to add. Tiffany's reign is on the downward slide. She's been champion since January. Stephanie Vaquer has just won this title. Early spoiler, I think Jade Cargill was the one that's going to take the title from Tiffany at Survivor Series.
What a great run for Tiffany, though, as first-time champion. Like,
amazing.
10 months as first-time champ. That is phenomenal. Like, you don't ever get that. That's normally like 2 or 3 months. But yeah, props to Tiffany for lasting that long. Like, that's a great first championship run.
And the people she's put away whilst being champion as well. She's put away the likes of, Nia Jax about 20,000 times. But yeah, there's been Charlotte Flair's been in there. Trish Stratus has been in there. Jade Cargill. So it's been a great catalogue of top talent that she's faced. But I do believe that Tiffany will lose to Jade the next time. They've been building this idea that Jade, it's been a slip up towards the end. I think we're building for Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair for the Women's Championship at WrestleMania 42. I think that'll be the direction. If I had to guess early now, spoiler, we will do that video at some point. So yeah, I think Tiffany will drop the strap at Survivor Series. But Stephanie Vaquer, like you said, she's just won her title. Let's go all the way. She's won everything else. She's been double champion already in WWE. Let's do it one more time.
Where is Belair anyway?
She's had a finger injury the whole year. She broke her finger in a match at WrestleMania. And it's been a unique finger injury to the point that she's not been cleared for a very long time. So yeah, I'm hoping that she'll be back soon. But yeah.
Hopefully it's nothing like the old Santos Escobar and the creative is lacking and she doesn't come back again.
I think we're safe with Bianca Belair. But yeah, really shame to hear that about Santos Escobar. The dude had so much potential, in my opinion, to be a big star in WWE. But just never was given the opportunity, never really given the right creative, the right buzz, the right push. Yeah, it was just a bit of a waste in the end, unfortunately.
Someone out there probably has done the video, but like I'd love to go back and look at all the NXT call ups and just not even try and figure out what went wrong, but like how do you book these people wrong? Like Legado del Fantasma were amazing. I mean, don't get me wrong, probably putting the Cruiserweight Championship on him as his first ever major title was probably the kink in the armor that he didn't really need. He probably needed a North American Championship or an NXT title. But don't get me wrong, his matches with JD McDonough or Jordan Devlin at the time, some quality stuff, I believe. So I don't. They do it so often now where you get all this great NXT talent and then just flop it, and they're still doing it. And Vince has been gone years now, and I don't understand why and how they're still doing it.
It just seems to be a thing of one writing team writes for a talent, and then all of a sudden they get handed to another writing team that's not been writing for them. It's almost as if you need someone that almost works between the two, that strictly works for NXT call-ups to the main roster, to know that they're going to be transitioned from where they were to what they're going to go into and how they're going to slide in and fit in nicely. Sometimes they can just go completely the reverse, do something completely new for a character. I mean, you take Roxanne Perez, for example. She's slid in, she's just gone straight into the Judgment Day and fit in very, very well, and it's worked out nicely. For others, like you said, that come up, they just can get lost in the shuffle, and all of a sudden, I hate to always use the term, but they get Dolph Ziggler, and people just don't really make a fuss for them anymore. And CD's pretty much said that. Santos Escobar came out and it was just silence. It's not his fault, which is true, but that is the facts of what happened.
And obviously WWE trying to get their cheap pop with the old LWO run, bringing that back and putting Santos and Joaquin Wild and do you know what I mean? Putting those three in that, and it should have been a lot bigger, but it was just easily a ploy to sell T-shirts.
Absolutely indeed. CD trying to think of someone else who's been champion as long as Tiffany Stratton in their first reign in the modern era. Gunther had a long run in his first run as world heavyweight champion. I'd say from SummerSlam to WrestleMania, it's about a solid 8-9 month reign.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, there isn't very many of them where you get like a first time champion that lasts that long. Like, you get even people like Kofi. I don't even think Kofi's run as champion lasted that long. Do you know what I mean? And he's a guy that's been in the business for, what did he win at WrestleMania? Lost it by Survivor
October
Series,
the 4th. Yeah, October 4th. Yeah. It was the first SmackDown on Fox, the infamous Brock Lesnar match.
Yeah, so like 5 or 6 months. But yeah, like almost the calendar year is a very rare thing nowadays.
It is unfortunately a bit more of a rare thing, but yeah, we'd love to see it indeed. CD says Tiffany Stratton wins because we need someone from SmackDown side to win one of these Crown Jewel championships. Wink, wink. I think we know the prediction then for the men's one, which is coming up very, very shortly. We'll see if we match you in a couple of moments, CD. And Seth Rollins, of course, is up there in 2015. Of course, he only lost his title because he had to vacate it. He went from WrestleMania in April all the way to November. It's on the European tour. Somewhere in Ireland, if I'm not mistaken. Can't remember if it was Northern Ireland or if it was in Dublin, but something like that. Yeah, it was one of the two. It was either Belfast or Dublin. Not sure which one. Yeah. But we move on in the meantime, and we are going to talk about then the other Crown Jewel Championship for the men: Cody Rhodes versus Seth Freakin Rollins. As T Sweet Carl said earlier on in the comments of this video, they got history. That's pretty much the story. They have got history, but the thing is, their history is good. Obviously, we're going back to 2022 for most of it, of course, with the return of WrestleMania 38, where Cody was a surprise mystery opponent for Rollins. Cody won the match, then had the rematch at Backlash, which, of course, Cody won again. And then they had Hell in a Cell. You know, the one with the torn pectoral muscle that Cody had. Cody won again. 5-star classic, one of my favorite Hell in a Cell matches ever. Now, we know it on this scale as Cody 3, Seth 0. WWE gave us the full record, including house show live events of these two competing against one another. Cody Rhodes has beat Seth Freakin Rollins 22-0. Rollins has not beaten Cody Rhodes once, which has led to a brilliant little story arc here, because Seth is pretty much saying, I need to win this. I need it. I have to win this. He's obsessed with the idea of having to beat Cody Rhodes, but to the point that he's actually making mistakes on SmackDown. He couldn't let go of the fact that Randy Orton and Cody were laying after the Vision had had the tag team match with them. And Paul Heyman said, don't do what you're thinking. Don't do what you're thinking. You're playing into the trap. He's in your head. Rollins ignored his oracle. He run into the ring, go for a curb stop on Cody. Cody was playing possum. Landed one of the crossroads instead. Amazing stuff. And then a Raw this past week, Rollins said, what if I don't beat him? He actually has the doubt in his head. What if I don't beat him? Well, if you don't beat him, you're not going to be seen as that locker room leader anymore, said the Oracle. I'm going to say the wise man there, but the Oracle said that. He said, people like Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed have been by your side, are probably not going to be feeling it as much anymore. And yeah, it's not going to be good for you. Rollins said, you didn't answer about you, but I mean, obviously, Oracle knows how to work his way. He knows how to weasel his way out with these things, but still, it's interesting. I've loved the character dynamic from Seth Rollins in this program. This is probably the best I've seen of him, arguably, I won't even say all year. I really enjoyed the chemistry with this. This match here is arguably a nothing match in a way for this Crown Jewel Championship, but yet I'm invested in this one.
Also, the fact that Cody is technically defending Crown Jewel champion as well. So he obviously has. Do you know what I mean? There is kind of like that small minor detail that you add to it. But wow, why the hell were we talking so much about John Cena like not beating Brock Lesnar as much when the win-loss record with Cody and Seth is so astronomically bigger? Jeez. Yeah. Look, I mean, this is the easiest match of the card to predict. Like everything you've just said in terms of the story that they've tried telling on TV and the and I said this at the start as well, when they're trying to build something between Cody and Randy for after this show, there is a lot more to. Not even really a lot more. Really, it's just simple. Like Seth is winning this. This is Seth's win over Cody. It's probably going to be full of shenanigans because, protect Cody because he is WWE champion. You can't have the WWE champion losing clean. Like, then again, maybe you could do because it's the world champion who is meant to be his equal essentially, and it is Seth Rollins. But I don't know. I think if there's a shenanigan finish with this, I think it gives them the opportunity to revisit it at a later date to almost be like, you may have beat me, but you didn't do it clean. You had help to beat me. So I think that's why I'm probably going to go with a Seth win, and it's going to be a screwy finish, just so that at some point in the future, WrestleMania 43, 44, whatever, whenever they decide to revisit this story beat, they've got a story arc to carry it on. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is probably the most interesting story that Seth probably had all year because it's almost the first signs that we can see cracks in the armor with Seth, like because he's been so confident all year, and I know he may have taken a couple of losses to Punk and AJ or whatever, but like this is the first real time where you've had someone like, especially Paul Heyman, be like, don't really want to lose this one. Do you know what I mean? You're going to lose, like you said, everyone's going to lose the locker room. So this is like almost a real big. I suppose if he lost, it would be a big character development for him. But I suppose if he wins, it almost kind of reinstates where he sits on the totem pole in terms of champions in the company.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to waste any time in the prediction. It's the same as yours. Seth Rollins wins. It's how Seth Rollins wins is the big talking point with this. And you talked about screwy finish. I talked about it in the show. There's something that people are talking about this week that we have already talked about on this channel I looked at it was 13 days ago, I believe, maybe 14 days ago. We talked about Brock Lesnar being in War Games on the side of the Vision. Now, Australia is a far place to go, but Brock has done these far shows before. He's no stranger to a Crown Jewel either. Just not a Saudi show, this one. But still, I think Brock Lesnar is going to be the reason that Seth Rollins wins this match because it's going to set up Cody versus Brock, I believe, at the Royal Rumble, not Survivor Series, because I think Cody and Brock will be in War Games. That's what I think will happen in November. So Seth will have his then Vision team, which of course will be himself. Brock will have Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker. On the other side already, you can categorically say we'll have CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes. I think we'll get John Cena in there as well. It's who fills those final two spots right now. I would say for the face team, Jey Uso is one that potentially could be one that could fit in there. On the heel side, we'll have to wait and see. I like the idea of a Drew McIntyre. Randy Orton could be someone who could be on that face side as well, you know. But there was a lot of different dynamics you could go with when it comes to a men's War Games match. But yeah, I think that like you said, it protects Cody. And if we want to have a reason of why was Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar kind of reunited at WrestlePalooza? Why did they talk on SmackDown before WrestlePalooza? And why has nothing happened since then as well? There has to be something that ties it in together. Otherwise, it's just for a moment, for the sakes of it, something that makes no sense, something that people are just going to go, well, what am I watching for just moments? I want stories. I want something that's going to hook me and keep me connected. And WWE likes to connect the dots together, but they're a bit further apart these days because I arguably say that Triple H is trying to book like he's in the 80s. A lot of story beats happen, but they're a bit further apart for a longer story. Excuse me. Therefore, I think that's where we could get that sort of connect the dot here at Crown Jewel.
Yeah, no, again, it probably makes the most logical sense. It's just a case of, is Brock going to fly halfway around the world just to, I'm sure we've had that discussion as well before, is Brock going to fly halfway around the world to be a reason for Cody to lose? And do I really want to see Cody versus Brock again? I think is another thing. I mean, I don't know. I think, yeah, you could probably delay the Randy Cody story as well for maybe War Games. Maybe something happens between those two in War Games, which is why we then get those two face off with each other afterwards. But yeah, it is a very logical booking, and if you are going to have your WWE champion lose from a screwy finish, you might as well, do you know what I mean, use the legitimate badass in the company, the guy that literally no one wants to fight in real because he is a complete animal. That, do you know what I mean? It makes sense in terms of protecting Cody, which I suppose is the most important thing to come out of this match.
Absolutely, absolutely indeed. And just to clarify, I'm going to agree here with CD's comment here. Brock Lesnar will be an ally with the Vision. He won't be an official member. Just want to say that I agree with that comment there as well, because I did kind of say differently a couple of seconds ago, or it may have come across that I had done. But I agree, he'll be an ally.
Prospect of having Brock Lesnar in War Games. Like, you could do 4-on-1 and Brock would just absolutely ruin them.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think this is the reason I wanted to put Cena in there, because then Cena will actually then get his 100th PLE win in War Games. Yeah. Perhaps he's the one that pins Brock Lesnar, or he pins one of the other people in there, but he gets his win back from what happened at WrestlePalooza. But I do feel at the same time, I think we're building to Brock versus Cody, so Brock probably won't take that pinfall inside of War Games. And I agree with you. It's not a match that we need to see. It's not a match I necessarily want to see, but it's big for the Saudi crowd for the Royal Rumble season. And it's something that, you know, he's back in WWE, so they're going to book these matches. And Cody and Brock, they have history. Brock will want to win the title on the road to WrestleMania. It makes sense. It's just, unfortunately, it makes sense. Yeah. That's what it is. So, but we'll go into the comments then. And anything you want to say, get involved now before we wrap things up here today. But I should just say very quickly before we leave, and before you want to check out now, Bound for Glory predictions. We're doing them live tomorrow. So make sure to be here. Yeah. So Hardys versus Dudleys, Trick versus Mike Santana. We'll probably recap a little bit of NXT Showdown as well. So come and join us tomorrow for a bit of TNA action. Bound for Glory predictions will be on this channel. But yeah, let's go into the comments and see what people are saying, and we'll wrap it up then. CD says, Carmelo Hayes is a modern day Dolph Ziggler for me, workhorse, but doesn't get his love. I think he will start getting love though, but yeah, he's having to work through teaming with the Miz, but that thankfully seems to be breaking apart now, which is good news indeed. CD also said, said that Seth is winning here. Brock Lesnar helps Seth win here. Byron doesn't think that Bianca Belair will win the Royal Rumble. Neither do I, to be fair. Is going for Roxanne Perez or Lyle Valkyria. It's called Bianca Belair old. I wouldn't go old. Certainly not as old as us anyway. So yeah, she's still got a heck of a career going on in her way. See, this says WWE are making you think Seth Rollins is losing, but he's got a plan. He always has a plan. That's why he is an architect and a visionary, revolutionary. You know all the nicknames at this point.
And the Messiah and all those other nicknames.
Absolutely, absolutely. Cody Rhodes has already went back-to-back Royal Rumbles, plus it's too early for someone to go back-to-back with the Crown Jewel Championship, especially in its second year, CD. Very well said indeed.
CDs. It's Cody Rhodes. They don't need a reason to do it.
But you were right, though, because you said that this one is actually a title being defended. It makes sense for it to swap over as well, where with the women's match, Liv Morgan was the current reigning champion, and she's not even healthy this year to be involved in it. So no defense there. It just will beat someone else. But yeah, I agree. The Vision will have all the heat going into War Games, and that's where they'll lose. Seth winning here, Brock being an ally, Bronson Reed winning earlier in the evening. All the things go together in place if they will do it. We can't get through a stream without mentioning the name Obafemi. CD says, imagine Obafemi being a member of the Vision. I mean, that's a frightening team, isn't it? Bron Breakker, Bronson Reed, Obafemi with Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman as the masterminds. Goodness gracious me.
I tell you what, they cannot screw up Obafemi. That guy is a WrestleMania main event up, guaranteed. If they screw that up, I think I might give up watching WWE at that point.
You might find me doing a lot of streams on my own, ladies and gentlemen. But all I can say is that they won't do this. They won't do this. But apparently, rumor has it, I think it's PW Insider said that they still have plans for Obafemi in NXT still. He's not called up yet to the main roster. So he will continue on in the meantime. It's just not involved in this NXT TNA stuff at the moment, which is fair enough. He's just lost the title. Little break doesn't hurt anybody anyway. Yeah. But I think it'd be perfect to keep him in there until the Royal Rumble. We've never had an NXT star win a Royal Rumble match. Obafemi is the perfect person if you're ever going to do it. I don't know someone before or someone that could be in the future at the moment, currently after, that would be a perfect person to do that. So for me, I kind of want to, it's not going to happen. I'd like to see Obafemi debut in the Rumble, win it, and automatically go for a world title at WrestleMania.
Yeah, he wouldn't even necessarily have to win it, but I think if you want to make a big star out of someone, I'm sure I've told you this, but I definitely have said this prediction before. Like my debut for Kenny Omega in WWE was he wins the Rumble and doesn't actually wrestle a match until the main event of WrestleMania, and do you know what I mean, wins the world title. And it's a phenomenal way to just announce someone. But hey, it's WWE; they won't ever do it, unfortunately.
I love that. If that had ever happened, it would have been awesome to see. And I'm pretty sure you've given a shout before for Oba to win the Rumble as well. So I mean, it's something that's we both have passionate feelings of seeing Obafemi do well in WWE. We want to see it happen. Make it happen, WWE. CD's got a lot to say tomorrow, which is good to see because we'll be going TNA then for Bound for Glory. But in the meantime, if you've enjoyed the video, hit the like button, share with a friend, subscribe as well. All that good stuff. We'll take care and see you for the next one. Enjoy Crown Jewel and keep an eye out because there will be a review as well. Take care.